Let me start by focusing on two significant German words, Vergangenheitsbewältigung and Zukunftsfähigkeit. The former can be roughly translated as working through the past, and the latter implies future viability. In my first language, which is Hindi, the word for tomorrow is the same as the word for yesterday, kal. Salman Rushdie jokes, I quote, "No people whose word for yesterday is the same as their word for tomorrow can be said to have a firm grip on the time," end of quote. To the contrary, I would argue that in order to be zukunftsfähig, one has to be able to undertake Vergangenheitsbewältigung, which involves taking stock of how we have arrived at this state of the world. While we are currently experiencing unprecedented advance in science and technology and rapid social and political transformation, which promises the protection and promotion of equality and freedom globally, we are also facing unparalleled challenges such as the ongoing pandemic, ecological destruction, rise of right-wing movements, conflict and war that are causing immiseration, dispossession, and disenfranchisement transnationally. Although we seem to be headed towards planetary destruction and ruin, we're also at the cusp of unimaginable global movements that are struggling for economic, political, social, and cultural justice. Importantly, the situation we find ourselves currently is in many ways influenced by the legacies of colonialism. From climate change to refugee crisis, from the controversies around the role of religion and politics to minority rights and citizenship, colonialism has left its traces on contemporary geopolitical, social, and economic questions. Postcolonial perspectives enrich and expand our understanding of our entangled pasts and futures for as long as we are unable and unwilling to learn from our historical mistakes, failures, and crimes, we are condemned to repeat them. Thus, it is my firm belief that our histories of the past should be strategic interrogations of the present as a way of helping us to envision the possibilities for post-imperialist futures. However, the relation between temporality and hope, desire and imagination for non-dominant futures remains tenuous and alludes to the impossibility of utopian thinking. Given the link between colonial utopian experiments and the ensuing violence, it seems paradoxical to speak of post-colonial utopias. And yet, how is one to imagine a post-imperial world? Or does the world we live in make it impossible and implausible to imagine post-colonial utopias? The term utopia implies that the perfectly good place is really no place, so that the imagined ideal place does not exist. This failure of the future is not defeatism or cynicism, but yearning for that which is perpetually deferred, a nostalgia for the yet to be. To imagine the unimaginable and hope in the face of hopelessness is precisely the task of utopias, a melancholia for that which is not yet. In place of an eschatological tradition that lends to critical thinking, claims of directionality and purpose with promises of salvation and fulfillment, a planetary approach to thinking utopias draws on planetas, which literally means wanderers in ancient Greek. This facilitates multidirectional flows of hopes, desires, and imaginaries without reproducing hegemonic paradigms of globality or transnationality. The Greek term eschaton contains two meanings of the notion of an end. One, as the finishing of a process as finis, and the other as the completion of a goal as telos. In contrast to investing futures with the purposiveness, we need to be cognizant of the non-formulaic openness of planetary utopias that involves not only reflecting on what is to be hoped, desired, and imagined, but also on the limits of our best efforts to do so. For imagining the unimaginable and hope in the face of hopelessness is precisely the task of utopias, a nostalgia for that which is yet to be, the not yet.